The objective of fundamental analysis is to assess the fair value of a currency or security in prevailing market conditions by analysing underlying economic forces. If the fair value is higher than the market value, then prices would be expected to rise. If the fair value is lower than the market value, then prices would be expected to fall. Equities or commodities are valued by their intrinsic strength on an absolute basis, while foreign exchange is valued by the relative strength of one currency with respect to another. Fundamental analysis examines key drivers such as macro and microeconomic data, geopolitical events and their linkages. Factors that are analysed pertain to the overall state of the global and local economies. Are conditions such that they are conducive to economic growth, or are they recessive? Factors examined include GDP growth rates, potentially disruptive geopolitical events, employment statistics, interest rates, inflation and balance of trades, amongst others. Variables affecting demand and supply of commodities can have a direct effect on pricing. For example, significant growth in the Chinese economy may lead to an increased demand for crude oil-based products and to an increased upward pressure on the price of Brent crude oil. Balance of trade and interest rates are key drivers for currencies. If a country has a trade surplus, then this implies a high demand for its goods and services, and consequently a greater requirement for its currency, thus likely to drive up relative value. Geopolitical events have a significant impact on commodity and currency prices. The Greek debt crisis caused the euro to weaken, while the May 2015 election results in the UK, which removed market concerns of political uncertainty, caused the pound to strengthen. There are two broad approaches to fundamental analysis, either top-down or bottom-up. In a top-down analysis, the analyst begins by analysing broad-brush macroeconomic factors and aggregates of data, and works their way downwards, narrowing and refining the search to include only those currency pairs that present a profit potential. In a bottom-up analysis, the analyst begins with a specific currency pair and works their way upwards, looking at how these are impacted by broader economic and geopolitical forces. Often there can be correlations between various asset prices. For example, the US dollar and gold have in the past been negatively correlated for a number of reasons, including the fact that gold is viewed as an alternative source of value to the USD and a hedge on inflation. On the other hand, iron ore and the Australian dollar can be positively correlated. Australia is the second largest global producer of iron ore, thus higher demand for iron ore will result in a greater need for Australian dollars to pay Australian producers of iron ore, leading to an upward pressure on AUD. Fundamental analysis provides traders with a perspective on these correlations if they exist. This also enables a framework for risk reduction via diversification, by adding uncorrelated securities and currency pairs to a portfolio. It must be noted, however, that past correlations are not indicative of future correlations between various currencies and commodities. While fundamental analysis has a somewhat long-term perspective, the underlying variables may cause wild short-term fluctuations in foreign exchange prices, as is evident on this chart of dollar-yen during the news release of the monthly non-farm payroll. Non-farm payroll releases relate to the employment situation in the US and, by extension, the health of the US economy. The OANDA FX Trade platform has a news overlay feature that displays economic events on charts in a user-friendly format, which allows you to manage these events and your risk during these times of increased volatility. Fundamental analysis can be fairly time-consuming, and to this end, OANDA provides several high-quality resources. These include blogs, analysis, news and market commentary that can be accessed from the Resources Lab of the FX Trade screen or from the News and Analysis window of the OANDA website fxtrade.oanda.com/analysis.